This is the Workamping Q&A session for December 2025. I'm Jody Anderson-Duquette here with Workamper News. And if you're not familiar with Workamper News, we are a small business operating in Arkansas. We've been around since 1987. I myself have been on board for about 20 years now. My family took over ownership from the original creators of Workamper News, and my husband and I are now operating it from our home base here in Arkansas. I am an RVer as well. My husband and I are now on our third RV, and we've done a fifth wheel. We had a Class C for a while, and now we're not RVing as much, so we just have a travel trailer that we utilize. So we've been traveling since about 2013. We've done full-time RVing and part-time RVing, and so we really enjoy the lifestyle and the flexibility that it gives us. And in that time, before RVing and during RVing, we've been operating Workamper News. And so in today's webinar, those of you who registered submitted some great questions. So I'm going to go through those questions that you guys submitted. It will likely take me hour and a half. I'm going to be very detailed. I promise this isn't just a commercial for Workamper News. We're going to talk about the services and resources that we provide to help you, and that will answer some of the questions, but I'm going to give you guys a lot of really good content too, because that's what we're all about here at Workamper News, is providing you guys the resources and the support so you know how to do it and what to do, so that way you'll be more successful at this lifestyle overall. We're really just, we're not just a Facebook group. We don't operate a big Facebook group. We don't post jobs on Facebook. We're not all about supporting a mega corporate entity that makes money off of its users. And we're not scraping data and stuff from other websites to make our systems work. So if you are familiar with using Facebook groups, that's cool. That can get you connected to some opportunities, but please understand that what we're talking about today is a completely custom built website and membership organization that's here to support you guys. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and kick things off with our first few questions. Well, I did throw in a little slide here, again, just to let you guys know, workamper.com is our online home base. If you haven't been to our website before, please check it out. We are a membership organization, like I said. We have free resources. We also have some paid services. We are a completely custom-made platform, and we do have a staff, and we're a business. So we're not just hobbyists that we're like, let's make a website and put a website out there that has job listings on it. We are a very robust custom-made tool. So we're supported by our Workamper members and our employer members, both sides. We are not then, you know, oh, we always favor employers because they pay for ads, or oh, we only favor Workampers because they pay for, like, but we're supported by all of our members pretty equally, actually. So we support both sides fairly. And so we'll get into some of this stuff, job finding tools, job listings, employer research tools, and some educational resources as we kind of walk through your guys' questions. But it's free to get started utilizing our services. So, and there's no risk. Even if you guys did jump in with a paid level membership and you didn't like it for whatever reason, just contact us. We're super easy to deal with. We have staff, we have a phone number you can call and talk to real people. We answer emails that are sent to us. And so we want to do our best to help you guys out in this lifestyle. All right, so we had multiple people ask here, just starting out, no idea where to get started, what should I do? So this first couple that sent in their question, they're a year away from doing this. Should they get a camper? Should they try doing housing? The wife maybe has summers off right now. How do they get their feet wet? And then a couple other folks just wanted to know how to go about getting your first work camping job and how to get started. And so I'm going to move over here to our website. So this is our landing site, workamper.com. This is what you'll see the first time that you guys come to it. And we have a lot of free resources here that you're welcome to dig into. If we go down in the About menu, you can get to our blog and our podcast, or there are links all the way down here in the footer as well. You can find our blog down here and links to our knowledge base. Some FAQ questions are here as well. So we do have a lot of great resources that are available for free, mostly articles, audio, things like that. We'll get into making more videos down the line, but we'll get there. So in the blog categories, we do have some how-to work camping articles and lots of stuff in here. So you can go through these articles and that's going to start to familiarize you with some things. You can do some keyword searches and like this one, how to find, oops, sorry, there's a quick start guide sign up there. How to find the right work camping job, 10 steps to land your next adventure. So this is going to be a great article to start with. So doing your homework, of course, you know, getting immersed in this whole work camping and RV lifestyle thing and learning as much as you can about it, whether it's from us or some other resources online. Defining your priorities, getting an understanding of what you're going to need, especially like budgetary needs. Do you need to find jobs that will provide you wages because you need to earn some income, or do you have some other income already, whether it's Social Security or income from remote work or other investment opportunities or whatever kind of things you guys got going on. So try to get an understanding of what you're going to need to get from your work camping jobs. Maybe you can just work in trade for an RV sited perks and you don't need to make wages, or maybe part of the year you work for wages, part of the year you don't. You need to work for wages all the time. You need to find salary gigs. You know, those are the kinds of things, especially budgetary, that you'll kind of want to lay out. Also get an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do. And as you start going through the job listings, maybe listening to some of our podcast episodes where other work campers have talked about what they've done and where they've been. So getting an idea of types of jobs you would like to do, types of businesses you'd like to work for, things like that, or what you'll want to start, you know, kind of daydreaming about and even maybe laying out more solidly. And if you are like a couple or a family or a two-person team, mother, daughter, two friends, whatever, you want to do this together. So that way you're on the same page, you have an understanding of what each of you thinks about this lifestyle and what you think you may want to get from this lifestyle. So you want to make sure to do that together as well. And also, just to kind of clarify up front, guys, when I'm talking about work camping to us and how we defined it is doing any kind of work while living in an RV. And so some of you maybe so far you're just thinking of work camping as working at a campground, or work camping is when I get an RV site as compensation. And it is really a lot more broad than that in our opinion. If you want to think of it more in a box, that's fine, totally up to you. But for us, it's doing any kind of work while living in an RV. So in our resources, you won't see it being limited just to RV parks and campgrounds, which is what you see with other resources that have come about since we started as well. So expand your horizons and know that if you're like, well, I want to do this work camping thing, but I don't really want to work in a campground, you don't have to. There are a lot of other opportunities out there as well. All right, so defining your priorities, what you want to do, where you want to go, when you want to go, then search and apply strategically. So you'll start to put a job finding process in place. And again, through our articles and services and stuff, and our toolkit itself sort of helps you build that job finding process. So you'll look through the job listings, start applying to the job listings, communicating with employers. You'll create a work camper resume, which we'll talk more about later, that you can use as an introductory point. And so once you've started the communication process with those employers, then their hiring processes will vary as well. So just to clarify, Workamper News, we're not an agency. We don't place you guys in the jobs. You communicate with the employers that are of interest to you, and employers may reach out to you if they find your resume in our database and say, hey, John and Jane, we think your resume looks great. Would you be interested in talking with us about a job? And so you do the direct communication with those employers. We have resources to help you with what do I ask during interviews? What is a work agreement? How do I, do this? Again, we have the education to support you in learning all about that. And so you'll want to research the employers, read reviews, look through their website, look through customer reviews, etc., just to try and get as much information as you can about that employer ahead of time, because you're likely applying for a position that's maybe hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away. So you need to really do your due diligence. And make sure that it feels right for you. Go with your gut instincts. You know, if you're communicating with an employer and you're like, something just feels off here, you know, you may want to listen to that. But the more information that you can get about an opportunity, the better. So that way you can make a more educated decision on if that opportunity will hopefully be right for you or not. And then understanding the job offer, again, making sure you're getting answers to all of your questions. And what questions do I ask? Again, we've got some resources for that. Getting a work agreement, which is just, it's a layout of expectations for both parties, what the employer expects, what the work camper expects from the opportunity, and for both of you to have that. It's a communication tool that you can utilize, especially if things are not going as they should during the season. You have that work agreement to approach management with and say, hey, look, this is what we agreed to, this is not what's happening. What's a compromise we can make, or how do we get back to what we originally agreed to, etc. So a work agreement is something we always recommend going with. Evaluating the compensation. So with work camping, it's a little different. With many of the compensation packages, work campers are being provided with things that aren't just, you know, dollars. So you need to look at and potentially factor in the value of an RV site, electricity provided, internet provided, propane or propane discounts, laundry, discounts on stuff you would buy, meals, uniforms. Some employers offer like free things to do in their community if they're like a tourist location, especially. So lots of different little perks that employers will tend to offer their work campers, and a lot of those things you can figure out sort of a monetary value for those things and make sure you're including all of that in the package. Because you may see a job listing that says, you know, $12 an hour or something, and you're like, well, that doesn't seem like very much. But then once you factor in the RV site and all the other perks, you're like, oh, technically, once I do the math here, this job kind of works out to maybe more like $15, $17, $20, $25 an hour, depending upon the value of those perks and things like that. So especially if they're giving you the RV site on top of paying you for every hour worked. So anyway, so there's some math that can be done to help determine what that actual compensation is. Oftentimes just reading the few sentences of a job listing doesn't give you the full picture of what that is. So sometimes it takes a little bit of legwork to get the information fully for that opportunity. Then, of course, evaluating the opportunity, we kind of talked about that. Commit and communicate. So if you do decide to accept a position, please try to do your best to follow through on that. If something comes up in life and you're not able to fulfill that commitment, just communicate with that employer as soon as possible to let them know. And then once you do arrive at the opportunity, just, you know, do your best and hopefully have a good time. So that's kind of a little top head overview of kind of a job finding process, as you could say, and we'll dive a little more deeper as we get into some of you guys' questions. But as far as, you know, how to get started and should I try some things out initially, there are some work campers who have done that. Maybe find a volunteer gig in your local area, like within, you know, 100 miles from your house or whatever you're comfortable with driving, and just do maybe a volunteer camp host gig at a state park nearby or a wildlife refuge nearby or a U.S. Army Corps of Engineer opportunity. Typically volunteer gigs will have a shorter term, a little more flexibility as far as the amount of time the employer wants you to be there. In general, with work camping, gigs are going to be typically kind of follow two seasons. We have our main summer season, which is sort of March, April, May through September, October, that big summer season. And that's when there are way more opportunities available because there are more businesses that are open in the summertime because the weather is nice. So a lot more opportunities available in the summer. And then for the fall, winter, you know, sort of November through March, it's a little more, I mean, in the South, of course, that's when the RV parks and stuff get real busy in the South. So there are typically opportunities at the RV parks and stuff in the South. But there are some other kind of interesting positions, like the sugar beet harvest is a short-term gig. There are seasonal, like Christmas holiday operations, whether that's, you know, doing kiosks in malls or selling Christmas trees, pumpkins, fireworks for, New Year's, 4th of July. Tax preparation services will hire extra staff like January through April. So winter's kind of interesting. Fall, winter, you can kind of mix things up a little bit more. It is a little harder to find opportunities in the fall, winter months, especially if you are looking for a gig that pays for all hours worked and provides you an RV site, and it's in the south where the weather is nice. So just understand that if you are wanting that type of gig, it is likely going to take more activity from you in your job hunting process to find the right gig for you for that fall winter season, especially if you are, have some more specificity to what you're looking for, or if you have a more unique situation, like maybe you have a 42-foot Class A and you're hauling a 30-foot trailer with a car and some other stuff inside. So you have a really big rig, you need a pretty big RV site. And so that's going to limit things for you. Or maybe you are traveling and you're more of like a tent car camper, and so you're not in a self-contained rig. That's going to create some more challenges for you as well. So just kind of keeping these things in mind, and understand that in certain situations you may need to put more effort into your job finding process, into your personal marketing than other times of the year. A lot of employers will hire ahead. So we started seeing employers recruiting for next summer in like October, November. Things slow down a little bit in December, and then January, February, March go, whoa, when all these summer operations go, we need staff and we don't have them yet, we got to get them. And so things will really ramp up January, February, March for the hiring of summer season positions. And then winter season gigs, again, especially if you have a more unique situation or you're looking for all hours paid and an RV site, that's something that I would continuously be active in keeping an eye out for. The fall winter gigs, we'll see them advertised in the summertime, but they could also kind of come up anytime. So for fall winter, you just want to keep your eyes and ears open all the time, as it is a little bit harder for that season to find opportunities. But you do want to plan ahead. That's really where I'm going with all of this. So 6 months out, you want to be sure to have your resume together, have it active, and start really working in that job finding process and getting started with that process. So for those of you that are new, that's how far in advance, 6 months or even 12 months in advance, I would get started on really getting organized. Okay, and so just to cover a few more resources, again, we talked about, we do have some FAQ questions that you can go through on here. Our blog has lots of articles, and then our podcast is called The Workamper Show. If you guys aren't familiar with it, you can listen to it on our website, workampershow.com, or any podcast app that you like to utilize. Just search for Workamper Show and go ahead and subscribe. We've been doing this for about 6 years now. And so we're up to 363 episodes, and each episode interviews either work campers or RVers living the lifestyle. We talk to employers as well. So here's one, Yellowstone General Stores. So the employers will get on and then just give more details about their job opportunities, where campers talk about what they've done, how they're living the lifestyle. And then we'll bring in some experts here and there, like here's one talking about workers' compensation, and kind of get a better understanding of how that works. Some employers may provide it and maybe don't. So just a lot of different resources here. So if you're up for listening to some podcasts, we have a really great archive. You can always search if you are, looking for solo jobs or maybe families on the road, and you can kind of narrow down to some of the episodes that may be more specific to you and what you're looking for. So, all right, so those are some free resources. Like, you don't even have to join our website or anything to look at those. We also have been doing these Q&A webinars for a while. We have lots of these recorded Q&As on our YouTube channel. If you go to the Workamper News YouTube channel, you'll find a lot of these Q&A webinars as well. So lots of free education, guys. We want you to feel prepared and supported in doing this lifestyle. So, all right, let's pop back over to our PowerPoint here. All right, so as far as lodging goes, and that might have been one of our other questions. Yeah, so I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, so I'll just wait to talk about that when we get to it. Okay, so here's another question that came in. I would like to know about winter work in the southern states. How soon can you start to apply for winter? I did kind of jump the gun and answer that already. For winter, like I said, I would just kind of stay attuned all the time. So one thing that's really cool about our services, you guys, is we do what's called the daily hotline jobs email. So each weekday, we take the job listings that we receive that day and we send it out via email to our members. And you can receive that whether you're a paid level member or a free level member. That's a benefit that you have access to. For our free Dreamer level members, you guys will receive the job listings 14 days delayed. So that's kind of one of the differences there between the paid membership. But all of our job listings are free. You can access them we'll get in, I'll show you guys a little more specifically about that. Anyway, so the hotline jobs email will come to you on a daily basis. So my point in saying that is just keep an eye on your email inbox. Like I said, we try to make it easy for you guys. So just on a daily basis, pop open that hotline email, scroll through the listings that came through, and we put the complete job listing in the email. We don't like truncate it and then make you go to a website and try to find it on a website. Again, we try to make things easier for you guys. So you could see the full job listing right there in your email and just kind of scroll on through, and if one piques your interest, then you may want to go to the website, get it into your saved job section, so that way you can take action on it when you're ready to. So again, keep your ear to the ground all the time for those winter gigs, especially if you are looking for all hours paid and an RV site. So once you see an opportunity come through for fall, winter, you want to take action on it as soon as possible. Okay. All right, this person says they'd like to get more information on year-round work. A lot of the opportunities, if the business is open all year round, they would likely keep you all year round. You're really only going to, like the seasonal gigs that we were talking about, operations that are only open maybe May through September. Obviously, those places probably will be less likely to have year-round work available to you, and a lot of our viewers don't want to be in the north in the wintertime because it gets cold and you got to deal with keeping your water pipes warm and dealing with the hose and all that stuff. So for year-round work, it's mostly going to be in the south, but there are multiple operations that run year-round, and most of the time employers, if they don't have to keep bringing in new employees on, like every 3 month or every 6 month basis. Like if you come in and you do a good job and you're a good employee and you want to be there all the time, great, that's easier for them. They don't have to bring in new people and train new people and figure all that out. So even if you do see an opportunity that's being advertised and it's just a shorter term position, maybe it's not a year-round position, then go ahead and inquire and see, like, hey, if this goes well for this season, could I stay on year-round? And you'll see also, we have employers that do advertise year-round positions. Sometimes those will be more like management positions, but not always. So yeah, there's definitely year-round options available. Okay, this person is interested in less than 90-day gigs. So something that we haven't done yet is created like a search filler for job length. I'll show you guys all the other search filters that you can search our job listings on, but we haven't made one for that just yet. Some of the options are kind of tricky because like I told you guys, our employers, we don't just work with campgrounds, or we don't just work with amusement parks, or we don't just work with, a certain type of business. So our employers are really varied. Some of the opportunities are like traveling sales positions, or with Southern Cross, they hire work campers to like walk and check gas lines, and that's kind of like a job by job basis. Gate guarding are contract positions that are maybe a month or multiple months at a time, and you're a 1099 contractor and you hang out at the gate of an oil field location or some other location and you check people in and out of who's coming to the property. There are, volunteer gigs at animal rescues and wildlife refuges. And so because there's such a variety, it's really hard sometimes to make it, like not all the employers fit in the same box. So we have to be really like thoughtful about the search fields and how we create our job listings and the fields that we have and stuff. So if sometimes you're like, why isn't it just this way? It's probably because we can't get all the employers to fit in that box and make it work. And our job listings as well are, it's not just like one listing is one job. So a job listing might be XYZ RV park, and they need office people, maintenance people, activities people, security people, and all of those jobs are encompassed in one job listing. So one job listing in our system might represent 2, 10, 20, 50, 200 jobs, like actual people that are needed to work there. So that's why, you know, it could be a little frustrating, I understand, but our system is even more easier to use and search than just like going on Facebook and trying to search a Facebook group. Like, good luck. And people on there just post whatever they want. There's no specific, you know, no specific form or anything that people fill out. So it becomes even more of a hodgepodge situation and can be frustrating. So anyway, so less than 90-day gigs, you can't just search for that in our system. But like we kind of talked about before, a lot of employers have, I would say the most average is like a 6-month season, 5 to 6 month season, but employers will be more flexible on that. Some have more flexibility than others. So again, like volunteer gigs, state parks, Army Corps of Engineers, when you're volunteering at a maybe historical society, like you are additional support staff. You're there to help the permanent staff keep things running, and they need you and they appreciate you. But if you're only there for 90 days instead of 6 months, like that might be okay, you know. So there will be more flexibility in that volunteer realm. If you can just work and trade for an RV site, that's going to open more doors for you. If you're looking for paying gigs that are 90 days or less, you may check in with some of the concessionaires in national parks. Some of them may have some flexibility to take you on a shorter stint, especially maybe at the beginning of the season or the end of their season, when they're like their students, the college students or the foreign students that they've brought in from other countries to work have had to go back to school. So there may be more holes that they need to fill at the beginning and end of the season when that, you know, part of their niche of their staff is not able to be there. And the same with like amusement operations or tourist operations, they may have the same kind of thing. So businesses that maybe hire students or foreign workers to come in, you may be able to fill some holes there in their season. And there are some gigs that are just naturally shorter term. The sugar beet harvest is one of them. It's often 4 to 8 weeks. Selling pumpkins at Halloween, doing the Christmas tree sales lots are shorter term. Some of the sales opportunities we talked about might be shorter term. So if you're looking at like typical RV campgrounds and RV parks, probably a little less flexibility of the 90-day or less thing. So you may need to look at other options outside of that particular business type for those types of gigs. Okay, other question here, are there ever jobs that offer housing? Yes, about 10%, 10 to 13% of employers that advertise to work campers indicate that housing is available. So when an employer is advertising to work campers, typically they're anticipating that the work camper is in an RV and will be coming in that RV and can be self-sustained and self-sufficient in their RV. They're bringing that house with them. So that's why you don't see a whole lot of options with housing being advertised to work campers, because the employers don't think of work campers as being the niche of people that need housing. But you'll see that we do include that in our job listings, and you can search on that in our job listings. But just understand it is going to be a much smaller number of opportunities. Okay, this person is already a member. They would like to know how to use new features, especially saving the jobs. They have their gig for 2026 summer, but they'd like to save some to contact for next summer, and is that possible? And then this person said, is there a way to look for certain jobs and places? So we will take a look at that now. All right, so let's pop over. Here is our website. All right, so once you're a member and you get logged in, you're taken to your dashboard page here. And so looking at our website, we have on a laptop computer like this, you'll have the sidebar menu. If you are on a mobile phone or a tablet, you'll access the main navigation menu by tapping the little 3-line icon in the top left of the website. So when you tap on that, it'll make this navigation menu bar show up. But if you're here on a laptop, you'll just always have that here on the left side. You can click the little arrow button to collapse that if it's taking up too much space and you want to get it out of the way. So we'll go ahead and leave it in a collapsed position so there's not as much going on. So we now have one job listings page. On the previous version of our website that we had, there was about 6 different avenues you could use for looking at different job listings. So we've simplified things down to one main job listings page. So when we click on that here, you'll see the listings show up. There are search options at the top, and if we scroll down here, there is a map. The map just indicates how many job opportunities are in a specific state. And if you did like click on the number 7 for Iowa, Iowa has 7 active jobs, great. And I go back up here, I'll see that Iowa has been automatically filled in my job location search field, and I can just hit search to see those job listings. So we don't have a pin for each job and where that job is, because like I said, you guys, our employers don't fit in that one box. So some employers have multiple locations that they're talking about in their one job listing. So I can't say, you know, for the sugar beet harvest, I can't put a pin in North Dakota where the Express Employment Office is, because technically the jobs that they have are in Minnesota, North Dakota, and in Michigan. So I can't do all those. So that's why we don't have like pins on a map for the jobs. But if an employer does put a specific address with their ad, that shows up in the job listing. So employers can give you that exact address, and we will give you a map of that exact address if the employer puts that exact address in their job listing. So just kind of wanted to clarify that, as it's a little confusing. So the job listings on our page here, you guys, they have been submitted by employers. We don't scrape our listings off other websites. All of these were submitted, reviewed by our team, and published. So you also won't encounter any spam, bots, pirates, weird stuff on here. And pretty much all of these positions have been submitted within the last couple weeks. When an employer submits a job listing, they can pick to run it for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. Most of the time they do 2 to 4 weeks at a time. So the opportunities that you see listed here are very fresh and not stale. And you will always see when that opportunity was posted over here in this far right column. So that way you'll always know it's not a mystery, because some other websites don't ever list that. Maybe that job listing was posted 8 years ago, who knows? Might still be a valid listing though. All right, so here on the search options here, we can click on that to make it go away and make it reappear. And so lots of things you can search on. Job location, you can pick multiple states at one time if you want to search on that. If you are really specific and you want to be within a certain number of miles from Gulf Shores, Alabama, you could search on that. And again, that's only going to pull up job listings where the employer listed an exact address. So you can do those kind of searches. You can search on job start date. And so that would be the month in which you want to start the job. So if you want to start a summer job, you maybe want to start in April, or you'd be willing to start in May. Compensation, we need all hours paid. Other compensation available would be like maybe they're providing a stipend, or you will work a certain number of hours for your RV site, and any hours worked over that number, you will be paid. That would be other compensation. Or if you just want to work and trade for an RV site only, you don't want to receive monetary compensation, thus you would select non-monetary compensation. Work schedule, whether you want full-time or part-time, the employers indicate that when they're submitting their ad. You're welcome to select a business type here if there is a specific type of business that you want to work for. And again, you can pick multiple options here to search on. Lodging, whether you want an RV site or if you need housing available, you can enter that. Any kind of keyword searches. And then we have 3 checkbox down here. We have pets allowed. So if you have pets, you may want to check that. Families welcome. For those of you who are traveling with kiddos, you can check that box. So that way you're only looking at listings where your family is welcome. And then solos considered. If you are a solo work camper, or if you're traveling with multiple folks, but it's just you that's going to be applying for the jobs, you want to look for opportunities where solos are considered. So you can come in here and input all of your search criteria, and if you're going to be doing that search regularly, you can click this save button and then give this a title and save that. And so now it's just saved all of that criteria that I entered. So if I reset the page, now I can come up here, and in this My Saved Searches up here at the top, here's my summer search, and it's going to autofill all that stuff that I put in, and all I got to do is click the search button. So that makes it super easy. You're not having to put in the data every single time, because you guys may be coming to this page here and there to do searches. You know, we get new job listings every weekday, and so this page is constantly changing. So when you're in your very active job finding process, you'll want to come in here and be doing searches. These job listings that you see here are the ones that we're sending out to you in the daily Hotline Jobs email. We also have what are called job alert emails. So if you are looking for a specific state that you want to be in, you can turn on job alerts for Florida or Arizona or whatever, you know, states you're most interested in. And then that way, as soon as the job is posted for that state, we will send that to you in an email. So you'll be among the first to know about opportunities when you have those job alert emails on. So that's a feature for our Seeker and Pro level members, just getting that immediate notification of new job listings for those specific states that you've selected, which is pretty cool. So when you're in here looking at a job listing, when we click on one, it pulls up the details. Usually the company name goes up here, or it may be something more vague. Again, the employers submit these, you guys, so we do our best to help them out, but some listings will be better than others. So they have some text here that they input. This employer put their specific location, so we have a nice map we can look at and kind of scroll back to get an idea of, oh, okay, so it's kind of not too far from Boston, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And then some job details like the start date, that work schedule, compensation. With the RV site, we're asking employers the max length of RV that they can accommodate, if there's water, sewer, what sort of electric is available. If there's housing provided, that would be indicated here as well. Solos, families, pets, and then the contact info for the job. So if I'm here on the job listings page and I'm like, okay, this one looks good and I want to save that for later, if you're a Seeker or Pro level member, you can click on Save Job and you can put it into a specific category and tie a note to it if you want to. So I've already created a few categories. I've got a summer 2026. Eventually I want to work in New Hampshire, so I'm kind of just saving some New Hampshire jobs. I'm making a list of the jobs that I've already applied to, so that way I can easily go back in and look at which ones that I know I'm actively working on right now. And I'm kind of interested in doing some volunteering, so I'm saving some of those job listings. So you create these categories, you guys. So whatever you want to call your category, you can do that, or winter, awesome jobs, or job for Steve, or whatever you want to put in there. So we put in our title and then we hit enter, and then if we want to put in a note, here's my note as to why I saved it, and then we'll just click save, and now that's in my saved section. And now I can access this job listing as long as I have my membership active. So even if this job listing falls off of the job listings page, you will still be able to see it in your saved job section. So when we come back to our main menu over here, we're going to go to our saved job listings, and here's where I can see all of those jobs that I've saved, which category I've saved them in. I can go over here to the far right and click on the eyeball to see that full job listing again. I can hit edit to change my note. Yep, I contacted them and asked about Wi-Fi or whatever, and just kind of keep my notes going. And I can always delete a listing if I don't want to have it in my listing anymore. And you can always, move the job listings to different categories, add new categories, get rid of categories. You could search your saved jobs on a few criteria up here. So this is really a powerful, cool tool to utilize in, again, your job finding process. And seeker level members, you guys can save up to 50 job listings at one time. Pro level members, you have an unlimited number of saved jobs that you could have in your saved section. So hopefully that answers the person's questions. They were asking how to look for certain jobs and places, and also just how to use this saved jobs tool. So that's pretty cool. And also on the job listings, guys, if you do have a resume in our system, which we'll get into here in a little bit, you can send your resume right from the job listing, which is super cool. So that makes things, again, even easier for you guys to reach out to that employer and get in touch with them. All right. I think we covered job listings here, so let's go back to our questions and see where we're at with that. All right. So here's one that came in. This person's husband is partially disabled. So this person will be looking for solo work campers positions. Will that be a problem? He's a good extra pair of hands on most projects, but no lifting. No, it likely won't be a problem. Like we showed you guys, we do have that solos considered checkbox with our job listings. When an employer submits their ad, they have to answer the question, will you consider solos for your opportunities, yes or no? And we typically see, on average, it's about 75% of employers do consider solos. So there are more opportunities for solos than not. I think you will see more of that in our system than on other resources that are out there for work campers. So you just want to be upfront when you're, creating your resume or doing your communications with an employer. Just be sure to let them know about any other humans or animals living in your home on wheels, just to make sure that employer is fully aware of what is coming to them. Especially if you're going to be like living on their property and doing the job on site, that's something you just want to be really upfront about. And some employers will have more flexibility than others. Some employers have a limited number of RV sites available to their work campers, and they may need to have 2 workers for one RV site versus just 1 worker per RV site. So it's going to vary, but again, about 75% of opportunities will be open to considering solos. And if your husband does want to do some work, not all work camping jobs are physical jobs. And that's something to keep in mind too, you guys, when kind of evaluating compensation. You can't just say, well, work camper jobs should pay X. Well, what is the work camper job? Are you, sitting in a gatehouse just waving people in at a 55+ RV resort, and you're just kind of saying hi and making sure the right people are coming and going? Or are you, on your feet all day and you're mowing and then you're painting and then you're sweeping and then you're, doing all this physical labor? Or maybe you are troubleshooting some electrical issues or doing some plumbing work, things, those kinds of things would be more trades-like and more, physical. And so those opportunities should pay a little bit more than the gig where maybe you're reading your book half the day and just doing some stuff here or there. So again, what are the duties of the position? Where is the position located in the country? And those are factors that play into what the compensation is going to be oftentimes. And also, so just kind of keep that in mind, because cost of living is different everywhere. So you may find an opportunity where you, which I assume I believe it was a female who asked this question. So the wife would do one job, and maybe your husband will be equipped to do another position there. It's just not going to be a physical position. If he's capable of doing computer work, answering phones, or like I said, hanging out in the security booth, waving hi to people, or maybe you take on a gate guarding job where all you need to do is walk out of your RV, check somebody in, tap it into a laptop, and then walk back into your RV. There are a lot of opportunities out there. So you may be able to find something that does fit within your abilities. But yeah, definitely move forward with advertising yourself and seeking out opportunities that you guys would like to do. Okay, next up here, I put this first, but we're gonna kind of hit like 3 or 4 slides with this next one. So this Workamper, this person has been a member for multiple years. They've been looking at the website. Again, we have a new website. We just launched it last November. This is the fourth version of workamper.com. That's something that, you know, we're also able to do because you guys are supporting us, is that we continually improve and work to make new versions of our website. It hasn't been the same for 20 years. So this person says, I think it is very vague and less detailed, but that may be what the employers are wanting. And so because this person said that, I think they're referring to the resumes. So we're gonna get into talking about resumes. It is not user-friendly to seniors who have been work camping for 20 years. So just to clarify, like, we didn't build the website for like, you have to be a work camper who has this experience, or you've been work camping this long, or you haven't work camped. Like, the website isn't built for that kind of thing. Like, anybody can use our website. And yes, our website is not just a pull up the website and scroll through job listings. Like, it's a robust tool. And so there is a lot to it. There are fields you got to click on and save stuff and do things. But if you take a little bit of time and get into it and read what's on the page, and then do the stuff on the page, and give it a little bit of time, I think you guys will see, like, oh, this can work really, really well for me. And those who get in and use the tools, it typically find more, you know, effort equals your outcome, guys. So we didn't build the website for any specific, like, we tried to make it as user-friendly as possible. And this new version of the site is easier to use. That's what other people have said as well. But any new thing is so hard to get used to, especially if you used our last website version for so long, you got used to that. So we understand just figuring out something new always brings frustration anyway. It has to our staff too. And so we gotta get past that newness thing, and you guys will. We'll get into the resume builder tool, and I'll kind of show you guys some things about it, how to create a resume for a first-time work camper. So our resume builder is good for those who are just getting started, as well as work campers who already have experience. The tool will work for any person. And we were just on the phone the other day with a gal. She's 88, and we were walking her through some of the stuff on the resume, and she was like, this is great. And she was filling it out and got it all done. And so how usable it is really just kind of depends on how comfortable you are, you know, using a computer and filling out stuff on a website page. I know everybody has different experience levels with that. We do have some videos and some help articles. And again, you can call us and we can help you with walking through, or if you get stuck somewhere, we're happy to help you guys, you know, make this work for you. So here's our resume builder tool. And what's really awesome with this new version of the builder is you can now advertise yourself for multiple seasons at one time. So you can go in here and say, I want to work April through September for the summer, and then I want to do October through December for the winter, and then January through April, and then you define your state locations and preferences for each of those time periods. So your resume can work for you 24/7, 365, as long as you keep it updated, keep your membership active. This resume can be out there bringing jobs to you without you really having to do anything. You know, with the Facebook and stuff, you got to post and post and post and post and post and post, because what's the algorithm showing people? Everybody's algorithm is different. So is your post getting seen by people that you want to see it? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. Is the Workamper resume at workamper.com getting shown to employers that hire work campers? Yes. Okay. So let's get in here and get your resume built and have it working for you guys. And now this is different again. So the gal who said the resume looks too simple and vague, I did take a look, and just for that particular member, you haven't filled out all the sections yet. You missed the references, the more details, and some fields in the situations wanted section. So if you'll just go back into the resume builder tool and go through those sections to put in the data in the new fields, I think you'll see that the new format does still provide the information that you want to have in there. And let me just show you guys what the resume looks like once it is all completed. So here's an example of a completed resume for John and Jane Workamper. It has the names at the top, current location, contact information, home base, RV info, pets. And then these folks are looking for a summer job as well as a winter job. So we have our two different situations wanted sections indicating our states that we want to be in and the compensation that we want for those different time periods and the objective that we're seeking in those two different time periods. Then we have our skills list and some additional information. Before work camping, hobbies. The job history is where you can really show the experience that you have. And if you're new to work camping, it's okay to list jobs that you've had before work camping, and especially you want to make sure to include opportunities that you've done that gave you skills that would apply to the types of work camping jobs that you want to go for. So you want to definitely be sure to showcase those in your job history. You may not want to list all the jobs you've had since you were 14, if there are quite a few of them. So just if there is a lot of history, try to simplify down and only include the jobs that you've done that apply to maybe possible work camping jobs that you want to take. But if you have had maybe one or two jobs in your career beforehand, go ahead and plug those in there and let that employer know what you've done in your past. You can include references in here, professional or personal. You can upload a reference letter so that an employer can see that reference letter right there on your resume, which is really cool. And then you can have up to 5 photos total, showing off yourselves, your RV, pets, maybe showing hobbies that you like to do, etc. We have a resume walkthrough video that we've recorded, and that video itself I think is about 15 minutes long, and so that will have a button on the builder here soon for that video, but if you want to see that video, just let me know. I'll get you the link to it. We just haven't got it up on the website yet. But that really walks through more specifically like each section of the builder and how to fill out each section, and talks about like what kind of photos to upload and stuff. But we give you tips and information in here. So you can have up to 4 people on your resume. So if you are a 2-person team, or you're a couple adults and you have some working age teenagers or something, or other people traveling with you, we know there's lots of different setups in RVs. So you can have up to 4 workers on your resume, on one resume. And work camper employers are used to getting resumes that are combined for the RV household, so that's not unusual. If they do require a resume for each person, they may ask that, but typically it's not. So you put in your names and your contact information, you put in information about your RV and your pets, and then you can list skills in here. You can list up to 15. We've kind of pre-populated a list that you can pick from, or you can add a custom skill that's not in here yet. You can always add that and save it if you want to. The situations wanted is where you will put in those different time frames and your preferences within each time frame. So you can have up to 4 if you want at one time. So you put in when you want the job to start, when you want it to end, the desired location, desired businesses you want to work for, the compensation. So again, you're really covering all the bases here. And so we have developed this to hit those FAQs that an employer would have. And we have simplified the resume a little bit. So on the previous version of workamper.com, in the resume tool, there was this section called Sell Yourself, and it was just this open text section. And we have retired that section because it wasn't ideal for the employer. They needed a more simplified kind of snapshot version, because and it really just varied. Like the Sell Yourself section on a lot would be like a sentence, while on other work campers' resumes it would be like 4 scrolls. And a lot of work campers were putting information in the Sell Yourself section that was already duplicated in other sections of the resume. and they would forget about it because it's this big, long, huge thing of text. They wouldn't go back through it again. So the sell yourself section might say that they were available to work in 2022, but their availability date was 2025. And they said they were doing this thing, but actually their job history showed they were doing this other job. So it was creating this mismatch of information, and it was too much for employers to read. And so I think that's what, this member was talking about, like, what happened to my resume? Like, we did change it up. But again, the sections that are in here allow you to put the information in that the employers need to see to get that snapshot of who you are. Your resume is just an introduction to yourself. And then you use the interview process and the communication time with that employer to really flush out your abilities, your skills, and what you bring to the table. So the resume doesn't have to be an entire history and, overview of who you are. It's just a really great starting point. So whether you're new to Workamping or you've been doing this for a while, just go through the different sections in here, fill it out to the best of your ability. We do have the knowledge base. So back here in the main menu, kind of lower down, is the knowledge base. Let's open that up in a new tab here. And we can go to the Workamper section. And then within the Workamper section, there are multiple different sections here. Workamping basics, how to use the website, finding and landing jobs, resumes, taxes, domicile, insurance, living the lifestyle, membership info. So here in the resume section, we have some articles to kind of help you more so with developing that content for your resume. And then you can also go into the finding and landing jobs, multiple articles in there to help you with building, your interview process, questions to ask, what are work agreements, following up after the interview, etc. So once you do have your resume created, then you're able to, you can view it so you can see what it looks like to employers. You can print it, you can export it. Some employers will have an online application process, and in that application process on their website, they'll have like an upload section where you can upload your resume. So you can export your Workamper resume here to then upload into their process, or export it to just have it on your computer. If you want to email employers from your personal email and attach your resume to that email, you can. But if you do send your resume through our website, we'll keep track of that for you, and we'll show you if that was opened by the employer or not. The read status may not be 100%. It depends on the recipient's email provider, whether we get that read receipt or not. So if it is unread, that doesn't necessarily mean they never got it, but it at least gives you some idea if your resume is getting out there and getting opened by those employers that you're sending it to. And so you can email your resume right from a job listing if that employer included an email address in their job listing, or if you've saved some jobs. So, okay, I'm ready to apply to Two Rivers Landing Resort. That's one of my saved jobs. So it auto-filled the name and the email for me. Now I can type in a little message here and send it, and it'll email the resume to the employer just like that. And then it's going to keep track of it here. And if I click on this show option, it's going to show me the message that I wrote to the employer in that email, and then I can put notes in here, followed up with the employer 10 days later on 12/29 or whatever. And so again, giving you guys this toolkit to really help you refine your job finding process and work that process, stay active with it. So you can keep notes and keep track of all this fun stuff. Those of you who are very detail oriented are probably going like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then those of you who are a little more not are like, there's a lot in here, okay? We understand. It is a lot. And we haven't even gotten into kind of all of the employer reviews and all of that other stuff. But these are really kind of the most valuable tools that you guys have access to. The Resume Builder tool is available to pro level members, and it's $8 a month if you want to do monthly, or $67 for a whole year. That's like one nice meal out could get you a resume working for you 24/7 year round. So it's really, really not too big of an investment, guys. And we have some employers, they never advertise their jobs. All they do is come in here and search the resume database, and that's how they find all of their Workampers. So if you are going through job listings and you're really just not finding things that are like, not really, nothing's really great, let's get your resume going and make sure that's out there too, so that way you're just putting as many feelers out there and opening yourself up to as many options as possible. Okay, let's follow up here and go back to, I think I've hit everything on the resume. Yeah. Okay. All right. Question just popped in relative to something I just said. So this member is asking, can we upgrade from the seeker level membership to the pro level membership? Absolutely, you can at any time. So if we go back here, so if we go to manage account, now I'm logged in as a lifetime member. That's not an option anymore. We did that like 12 years ago, I think, for a short period of time. But here on the manage account page in the membership info section, you can view the membership level pricing options, and you'll have buttons to change your membership level or renew your membership if you're already an active member. So yeah, absolutely. Anytime via the manage account page, you can change your membership. And if you are a seeker and you go to pro, it'll convert you for a period of time. You won't necessarily have to pay anything right away. Or if you are a pro member and you want to downgrade to seeker because you're not as active in your job finding process, but you don't want to lose access to your saved jobs, like you can do that at any time. So and the dreamer level, you can stay at the dreamer level indefinitely. If you do have a seeker or pro level membership and it expires, you'll be reverted to this free dreamer level. You're welcome to still get the daily hotline jobs email. Again, those job listings will be 2 weeks old. But again, most of these employers, like we talked about, they're hiring ahead of time. And oftentimes it's not just a 1 or 2 person job that they're trying to fill. So if you immediately think, well, 2-week-old job listings, they're not going to be available anymore. Most of the time that's not the case. If it is an immediate start job in Florida in the winter and it's paid, yeah, that job will probably get filled within the first few days. But if it's a job listing for Yellowstone General Stores and they're hiring 200 work campers, give them a call. They're likely still hiring and still have positions and stuff. So even if you are getting the delayed listings, there's still a really good value there. And also as free level members, as free dreamers, you guys can come to the job listings page and you can view our featured employers. That's these highlighted ads when you see the red star and like this tan color. These are our featured employers. And so you can look at them anytime. You can see the job listing and then you'll want to go to their profile here. The employer profile is where employers can give more information about their operation and what they provide. The featured employers have the most information on their profile. And so you'll be able to read all about that here. Some of them have videos as well. And also what's really cool on the profiles is, sorry if I'm going too fast, there's this section here called reviews. So we have offered the ability for work campers to write a review about an employer that they worked for since 2007. So 9 years now or so. But they're really, compared to how many work campers take jobs, there's really not that many reviews. So if you guys are a member, please go write reviews about the jobs that you have completed. So you can come in here and read any reviews that have been posted about that employer. And so that's all right here on the profile, which links right from their job listing, or you can always go and search for employers here. Obviously, I've searched for Cal-Am before, and Cal-Am's a featured employer. There's their profile. So you can get to profiles either from the job listing or from this search tool to then read reviews, look at videos, look at photos, look at job listings that they have posted, and just learn more about it. And again, employers control their profile, so how much info is on there or not on there is based on the employer's efforts. Okay, all right, sorry guys, we're reeling a little off track here. Let me get back into our slideshow again. Okay, so this person says, this is my first time applying for jobs using my resume. Is it normal not to hear from employers you sent your resume to? That kind of depends. Are you applying for positions that are immediate start or starting in the next month, or are you applying for jobs that start next summer? If you are communicating, so like right now it's December, and it's been a holiday month. So December specifically, even like late November, like that's kind of a mushy time. Like employers will get their ads out there and get ads running, but they may or may not be actively responding to the inquiries because they want the applicants coming in, but then they'll get to those applicants when they're ready to get to those applicants. So they may be running ads, but won't respond until maybe after Christmas or something like that. So there are times of year where there's this kind of like mushy time where, you know, everybody's a little bit less responsive, maybe more so employers, especially if the employer is a seasonal operation and they're closed in the wintertime. So maybe their, you know, their operation is closed and they've gone somewhere else in the country and have other things that they're doing or whatever. So it is really frustrating to reach out to these employers and then not hear things back. I totally understand how frustrating that can be. And we have kind of just like culturally, I feel like people are less conscientious of others in general. You know, as much as we push our work campers and our employers, please respond to every inquiry that comes to you, even if you're not interested or if you're not able to, you know, you don't even have to like respond thoughtfully. Just confirm that you received their inquiry. Hey, I got it. I'll try to do my best to get back to you, you know, this time. You know, that would be most ideal. So I wouldn't be super, especially like right now, if you're applying to jobs that start months in advance, you know, give that employer a little bit of breathing room. Maybe, you know, if you don't hear from them in a week or so, I would send another a follow-up. And so look at the contact information that the employer provided. So if the employer provided an email and a phone number, let's do the call because I did the email already. So now I'm going to call. Hey, just wanted to see if you received my emailed resume. Really interested in speaking with you about these opportunities. Thanks. You know, not a high pressure. You never respond to me. How dare you? You know, maybe don't approach it like that. Just a little bit of a check-in to see. Also, if you are applying for opportunities in the future, like maybe you really do, there's a specific area you want to be in the South in the winter time, or there's a resort that you're like, I've been there before, I really want to work there. Mail them something, maybe. Like put together, like print out your resume and have a like cool little postcard or something. And try to mail it maybe in a different, like not a normal number 10 business envelope, like a different shaped envelope or something, and mail that to the employer and just be like, hey, I'm this awesome work camper and I love your resort or business or location or whatever, and I'm really interested in working for you. So I thought I'd send you this as an introduction. You know, when you do have opportunities come available, would love to speak with you, you know, so you can maybe try to be a little unique in some of your communications as well. But yeah, try to use the contact information the employer included on the job listing first. If it is something that starts a while from now, a little bit of leeway. If it is a more immediate position, if it's starting like if the job listing itself says immediate, or it's starting like next month, I would maybe only wait like one or two business days. If it's a job, you know, like I said, like that paid job in Florida in the winter, that's starting right away. Like I would email your resume and then like next day, if you don't hear anything, I'd be like, hey, just wanted to see if you got my resume. So it kind of depends on the situation and kind of what's going on, but definitely follow up. So when you use the resume send log, you'll have the date in which you sent your resume to that employer. So you'll be able to be like, okay, it was this day, so it's been 3 days, it's been 5 days, it's been 6 days, you know. It's easier to kind of keep track of how long it's been since you made that first inquiry if you're using that resume send log, or keep track of it on your own in your own system. That's cool too. But yeah, squeaky wheel gets, or the greased with, I don't know what that saying is. Be proactive and but friendly and not aggressive about it. Okay. All right. Are there many jobs where I can live out of my minivan? I don't know specifically which employers accept which RV types. So I'm sorry, I don't have like a percentage or a number that I can give you, or like a list of which employers do. Some employers will indicate in their ad text if they're open to that or not. A lot of them don't. But when researching the employer, if it is an operation that has shower house, bath house, etc. on site, then they may have more flexibility for folks with non-self-contained units to come in and work there. But if it's an opportunity where there aren't those kind of facilities, they're likely going to be less open to that, because then, you know, how do you take care of yourself? And of course, there are folks who are like, I can keep myself clean and keep my food safe and manage my hygiene and all of that kind of stuff, and I'll be just fine weather-wise, you know, in my tent, in my pop-up, in my van, in my car, whatever, and you guys could be totally self-sufficient, that's cool. But in general, the employers want you to be safe, want you to be clean, want you to be healthy, all those kinds of things. And stereotypically, that means you're in a hard-sided unit and you have holding tanks, running water, refrigeration, air conditioning, heat, etc. So a lot of employers will expect that. But there are some that are flexible. So just be sure to be upfront about your home on wheels when communicating with that employer, and hopefully they'll, you know, let you know yes or no. If all the other factors about the job like line up with what you're looking for, it's where you want to go, what you want to do, the type of compensation you need, etc., the worst they can say is no, I'm sorry, we can't, you know. And some places have rules they have to follow. So it might be based on like insurances and stuff that they have. Also, like the concessionaires in the national parks, they are renting the work campers RV sites from the National Park Service. And so they have to follow the rules that the National Park Service have set out. So, you know, Delaware North, Santerra, Aramark, they may not super care, but the National Park Service has these rules, and so those concessionaires have to follow those rules, whether it be about pets, RV types, you know, etc. Okay, next up. This person asks, do they sponsor workers from African countries? So I'm guessing they're asking about the employers that hire the work campers. Probably some. I'm only familiar with what we were just talking about, the concessionaires for national parks. Many of them will bring in, I know oftentimes it's students, typically like college age, older teenagers, 20-somethings that come in from other countries to work in, you know, it's usually the visitor center retail shops or the food service operations, the lodging operations that are in and around national parks. So those are ones that I would look into, those bigger companies, Delaware North, Aramark, Santerra. I'm not sure, maybe some amusement parks, I think, will do that. Typically operations that need a larger number of people for a shorter period of time. And so I would look into those entities, but I'm sorry, we don't have a way to search like our job listings for employers that would include that, just because it's really not a lot of the employers. Okay, this was our last question that was submitted ahead of time. This person says how to establish residency while work camping. And so this really doesn't necessarily have to do with work camping, but well, how I took this question. So if you are going to become a full-time RVer and you no longer have a sticks and bricks home, then you need to set up what is called your domicile. And that's, you know, the address that you're going to use and where you're going to get your driver's license and have your voter ID card, and likely the address you'll use for, you know, insurance and banking and all that kind of stuff. And we have an article about this in our blog that I would go through and utilize. There are a lot of what are called mail forwarding services that provide that kind of service. And they're typically in the states that don't have income tax. So South Dakota is a big one, Texas as well. Escapees RV Club has a mail forwarding service. And then there are, like in South Dakota, there's like America's Best Address and a couple others that I know people are really happy with. So selecting domicile for your RV life. So you can go through this article here to kind of get an idea of what domicile is versus home base and factors to consider. And so yeah, check that article out. It's probably going to answer your question a lot more than I will just here in this little webinar. But as far as it goes for work camping, typically you don't need to change your residency while you're doing a work camping job. If someone were to, an authority were to question, well, why have you been here for a month? Well, I'm working, a seasonal gig, or I'm just here visiting. I'm an RVer and I'm here visiting. So most often work campers don't change their address or all their things to the address of where they're going to be working, unless you're like, it's going to be your place. If you're like, well, I'm going to go manage this campground for the next 1 to 7 years, then maybe you do set up residence in whatever city, state that job, that RV park is in. But most of the time, most work campers don't hop around and change up the residency, just because it would just be a pain in the rear to have to do that all of the time. Okie dokie. All right, so those were all the questions that were submitted ahead of time. I have no idea what time it is. Hour 15. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We're kind of moving along pretty well here. All right, so thank you guys for all those questions that you submitted in advance. For those of you who are online, I see a couple questions that have come in, but if you do have more questions that we haven't covered, just type on your, this is my mobile phone. My mobile phone, I'm going to tap on the bottom and go to that chat or question section to type in a question. If you're on a laptop, you'll have a control panel that you can click to chat in, so feel free to type in anything in there. All right. Okay, so a couple questions that came in. Let's see. Mary's asking, how many camp owners check your website for potential staff? There's really not a specific number, and it varies throughout the year. And if you're just asking like campground owners specifically, I'm sorry, I don't have the time to go in and look at, oh, these employers logged in today, it's this many of this business type and this many of this business type and stuff. So we're not fancy enough to have those specific statistics. And if an employer does go on our website, are they going to submit an ad? Are they going to look at resumes? Are they going to read articles about how to better recruit? So when an employer is on our website, they may be doing a variety of different things. But we have thousands of employer members. Some of them, it varies too when they're active. So we have employers that are active all the time, like those featured employers. They typically hire a larger number of work campers, so they keep their recruiting going year round, and they're kind of always active and paying attention to things. And then we have employers that only need maybe 1 to 5 work campers, and so they might be really actively recruiting for a couple months, 1 year. They hire their staff. Maybe all of the staff want to return for the next year. So then they don't need to do recruiting again because all their staff are going to return. But then eventually those staff don't return, and now they need to hire work campers again. So now they're back running ads and searching resumes. So there's really a lot of ebb and flow to our system. And it's the same for work campers as well. We have work campers that have their resumes out there, and then they fall in love with these jobs, and they're like, well, I'm going to do this next summer and the next summer and the next summer. So then they're just not using the resume as much, and they, hide their resume because they've found some opportunities that are their favorite places to be, and they just go back to them. And that's cool too. You need to decide with this work camping lifestyle how it works best for you. You may never want to do the same job twice, or you may fall in love with a couple and do the same thing every single year until you can't RV anymore. And that's cool too. Hopefully we can be here to help you guys facilitate and figure out whichever one is going to be best for you guys. That's what we're here for. So I'm sorry, I don't have this is how many work campers there are and this is how many employers there are, because it just really varies. But we have some employers that have been with us for 30 years. Their member numbers 8 or 25. So lots of work campers that have been with us too for, like the one gal said, 20 years or so that they've been using the system. So again, hopefully we can be here to support you throughout your work camping lifestyle, or just however long you guys need us, we'll be here for. Okay, question here from Catherine. How does one navigate having a service animal or other disabilities while searching and applying to work camping opportunities? Okay, so that is kind of a different animal. So technically, all employers should be allowing service animals and accommodating for, should all be equal opportunity employers. So there's not really a way to like define specific, like this job would be more friendly to service animals than others. That's really going to end up being kind of like a management personality thing. So that's something though to throw out to work campers when you guys are thinking about like leaving, writing a review of an employer that you worked for. When you're writing the review, think about all the questions that you or other work campers might have about that job and try to answer those questions in your review. Like, we get some reviews that come in and they're like, it was so great and management was so wonderful to work for and we can't wait to be back next summer. And it's like, I'm really glad that you had an awesome time, but like, why and what happened? Like, where was your RV site? Was it a good RV site? Was it big enough? Was there a lot of trees around? How close to it was to the sewer things? Was there a lot of train noise? How was management? Were they supportive? Were they nice? Was your schedule flexible? Were they micromanaging and hovering over you all the time and you didn't care, but maybe you do care, you know? So again, and were the coworkers you worked with, like, did somebody have a service animal? Or if you are someone where you're like, look, I can stand for a little while, but I need to sit a lot, was that employer accommodating to that? So when you're, thinking about these reviews, or if you have, so we didn't even get into it. We have a member map tool, you guys, and it's just for work campers. And you can go in and put your pin on the map, and then when you move to a new location, move your pin to show wherever you are. And that way you can see what other work campers are around you to connect with them and maybe develop a community that way. Or you go to the member map and you search on a location that you want to go to and see if there are any work campers in that location. Contact that work camper and say, hey, I see that you're at X location. Do you happen to be working for this employer? How's it going? And so if you do get an inquiry like that, just try to think about all the things that other work campers may want to know about that opportunity. Because just saying it's great or it's bad is just too vague. And so anyway, sorry, Catherine, that doesn't really like help you. I'm just trying to, anyone who's listening to this, if you want to kind of help be another positive support system in the community, like that's a way to do it, is writing really good reviews and being willing to share with others about your experiences. Go on the podcast and do a podcast interview and talk about the opportunities that you've done. So anyway, Catherine, I'm sorry, I don't have a way for you to specifically search for that because technically all employers should be accommodating for that anyway. So I don't know that that would be something that we would necessarily incorporate into the job listings themselves, but I'll make a note of that and see if it is something that we could or should do. Definitely, we're not opposed to changing things up, you guys. It may take us a while to get there, but we have a running list and we already have stuff that we want to do to improve the new version of the site. So getting your guys' input like this is really helpful for us as well. We appreciate that. But yeah, again, work camping, like we talked about before, it really can vary in the duties. Some jobs are, much easier physically, maybe more, mental kind of stuff, while other jobs will be more physically demanding, whether it's just being on your feet all the time or actually doing a lot of physical movement, lifting things, inventory, stuff like that. So yeah, it'll really vary. You just want to do your best to get as much information about the opportunity ahead of time as you can. All right, I think we got through everybody's questions here. So just want to thank everyone for listening in. We have been recording this. I will get this online. It'll go on our YouTube channel and we'll email it out to everyone who registered. I'll put the questions in the description so that way you can easily click to go to the certain time that a specific question was talked about. So if you do want to like go back and look at the resume thing again, it'll be easier to do that in the description of the YouTube video. So hopefully this gives you a good introduction. If you weren't familiar with Workamper News, it's a little bit of a crash course of some of the things that we provide, but we're here to support you guys. We're the #1 resource for a reason and have been for 38 years now. So hopefully you can dig in and our stuff can be helpful for you guys. Feel free to reach out. You can find our contact information on all different places on our website. And yeah. Join us again if you want to do this again. We'll have another Q&A webinar in January. You can get registered for that if you like. But until then, we wish you safe travels and happy work camping. Thanks, everybody.